Welcome back to my studio, McDonald Studios, where today we're doing coasters. I've had a lot of requests for these, but I mean, this is my first attempt to do coasters. So I got a few things together. What we're going to do today, you might or might not remember, several months ago I did a video on skins and how to save them for future projects. You never know when you're going to need them. Well, if you don't know what Yupo paper is, that's one thing that I pour a lot of acrylic pours on because they can be saved for future projects and they've got a backing on them. If you don't know what Yupo paper is, it's this right here. It's a non-porous paper that works great for alcohol mediums like alcohol inks, things like that work great on this, but so does pouring acrylics. And I like to do little skins on these. So what we're going to do today is go through my skins book. That sounds kind of gruesome. But we're going through the skins book of stuff that I've saved for, well, ever. These are some previous pours that I did on Yupo. And some are great, some aren't. Some have nice little areas like this one out here. Not so much. But I went through this today to try and pick out something to do some coasters with. Oh, and I wanted to show you this, because this is actually a skin that I pulled off the bottom of my pouring table one time and it just came off all in one piece. So I do save those too. That's some more. I almost did this one today, but I didn't want to mess with just the skin because this is just a very thin skin and that's a whole different process. So, the big reveal, which one did I choose? I decided to kind of go with the blue theme today and this one caught my eye, so we're going to do this one. This is one that I did on a video several months ago and the pour was gorgeous and the dry wasn't. It kind of came out a little jaggedy, but I knew to save it for a future project, and that's what this is going to be today. You can see I already got started. See those circles? What we're going to do today is I'm going to be using these silicone trays that I got on Amazon. And I'm pulling them out. I've got a couple of them. I'm pulling them in on these little practice boards that I use because I want to have a tray for them, so if I need to move them, they're not going to be sloshing all over the place, because we're going to be using resin, art resin. Yeah. That's what we're going to do today with these. And it's a pretty simple process. It's basically getting the Yupo paper you want or the skin that you want, cutting it out, putting it in the bottom of the tray, and adding some resin. Now what I initially wanted to do was pour a very thin layer of resin in here, like in a color, like a dark one, like black, to use as a background, or the first layer before I put my little pieces in here. But I forgot. So we're going to wing it today. But these little trays, they're not very much. I can't remember really what I paid for them, but I do have my page on Amazon, and I have these listed. A lot of other things I'm going to show you today, I did try to remember to write down the pricing, because I am frugal, but I always forget what I paid for stuff. So, those are the trays we're going to be using today. I'm going to do a set of 4. And, let's see here. Oh, one thing. Oh, before I get too far ahead of myself, I want to show you this because I was looking for a way to measure these cups, because these are for 4-inch coasters, but the bottom of these is not exactly 4 inches. It's closer to 3 1/4 or 3 3/4. So what I did was I just kind of looked around for stuff and I lucked out by checking this, which fits perfectly down there without any effort, and it's clear to the sides, because look, I can even pick it up. So it doesn't really stretch it out, but it grabs it. So it's the exact circumference that I need. So what did I do? I just did this and traced them with my Sharpie pen. I tried a few things: pencil, chalk pen. Sharpie ended up working the best. So that's how I got my circles that are going in there. And you can use a fine cutter, or I use scissors. Just use scissors. I am going to prep this real quick, because if you know anything about pouring, a lot of these cells came about because I used silicone in this pour. And I learned really early on, I tried to be really good and clean my pours once they cured, and you just can't. So now I'll leave them all alone until I go to use them, and then I clean them and I know they're clean. So where are we at? Okay, so we traced the circles. I also want to show you, I got these at Walmart. I was there the other day. They're these like thick cork coasters, and they were really cheap because they were on clearance, or else, because why make coasters out of coasters? But these are going to make great little backers for my resin piece when they're done, because they're thick and I mean, they don't even bend, they're so thick. But they were really cheap. They were like 66 cents a piece or something, so I grabbed a whole bunch of them. You might want to take this little design and have it on the back of your coaster, because that's a cute little design to have back there. But personally, I have my own stamp that I got from Vistaprint actually a long time ago around stamp. So I have gone ahead and stamped these pieces. Oops, let's get in there. Yeah, there we go. With my little stamp. So this is where the top piece is going to go. Yeah. So after I found these though, I decided to look on Amazon and see if I could find cheaper deals or whatever. And actually, the pre-made cork circles that are thick enough to do this, or that I feel are thick enough to do this with, they're a little expensive. But I did find this set right here, and I do have this on my Amazon page because I got, what did I get? I even wrote on here so I'd remember, 12 for $5. 12 of those. Now these, compared to the ones you just saw, these are thinner. They do bend a little bit, but if you're going to be putting a resin piece on this, then it's going to, you know, shore it up anyway. But I'll be putting my stamp on the back of that like I did my other one. Now with this you can also do squares. I'm kind of more attracted to square coasters, but I did find these, again, on Amazon. This is MDF. And it is strong, and it's a great substance to pour on. So you could do a pour on this and put a cork backing on it, but I did a lot of research because see those rounded corners? It's hard to find cork that'll fit this. So I just went to, again, Amazon. You know those paper coasters that you buy in bulk, like for a wedding or an event? They come in really good quantities. You can get a bunch of them for not too much. So what I decided to do was, in a future video, I'm going to pour on this MDF and back it with these little coasters that actually fit perfectly. And where did I get them for? The MDF ones were, this one's kind of weird. If you go to my page, you'll see it. It's a 6-pack of 4x4 times 3. So it's 3 6-packs. So you're really getting a total of 18 for $7.25. So these are hardcore. Those should be nice to work with. And then, like I said, I'll put these on the back, and they'll be a little thicker, and they'll have, you know, this paper backing that's a little bit better than having wood right on the table. I even took some of these. They sell these in the circles, by the way, too. Those are, you can get 100 for like 15 bucks for the circles. So you could put circles on the back of these as well. I already had the cork, so that's what we're going to do. And so a little bit more on this. These are just thick cardboard. And so when I first got them, I was playing around with my Lindy stamp gang from my own home state of Washington. These are really cool sprays that I have that have mica in them. And I was just spraying on these. These are just those, the same coaster you just saw. It's the same thing. And they look kind of, I don't know, muted right now. But I'm going to put some resin on these and see how they turn out. So you'll get to see that too this time around. Yay! This is what we're going to do now. We're going to prep this piece. I'm going to clean up here a little bit. I'm going to prep this. What I mean by prep it is I'm going to clean it. I'm going to use talcum powder to get rid of any leftover silicone that's in these little grooves, because I don't care if it's months later, it's still there. And then we're going to do an alcohol wipe on it and then cut them out and put them in the trays, and we'll go from there. Okay, for prepping this, and that is to clean it and to set it up for this resin pour, the things that you're going to need. If you do it this way, there's different ways to do this. The way I do it is talcum and alcohol generally, sometimes a little bit of soapy water, but for this, because it's been sitting for months, I'm going to do talcum, and then I'm going to wipe it off, and then wipe it off again with alcohol. I'll speed all of that up. But another thing is we're going to be using sandpaper on the back of this, and I'll explain why later when we're about to get the pouring on. But another thing that people might be a little unaware of is that you can sand the front of this as well. You don't want to go to town on it. This is a 240 grit. It's a pretty medium grit. It's not as heavy as, say, this one here, which will sand the crap out of stuff. But this here, you can go right on the image. And I'm just going to rough it up a little bit is what I'm going to do. You will not see this. Later when you pour on it, you won't see scratches, you won't see anything, because anybody who's poured with Floetrol knows that when your pour's done and dry, you kind of get a bumpy landscape, and that sanding knocks those down, but it also leaves like a fresh tooth area for the resin to grab a hold of. So you don't have to, like I said, don't go to town. Look, a little bit came off, but not a lot, and you saw how I just sanded those, and I got each one of them. So that's what the sandpaper's for on the front. The sandpaper that I'm going to do on the back is for the same reason. It's so that it will grab any resin that's underneath it and make it one piece. There's your science lesson for today. As scientific as I get. Alright, so I'm going to get started cleaning this and prepping it, and we'll speed it up. Okay, Houston, we have a problem. These are ready to go. They're cut perfectly, but there's a problem. Once I cut them, see how they're warping? And while they fit perfectly in here, snug and perfect, I don't know if you can see that, it's warping up in the cup, which means if I try to pour resin on that, it's not going to work. So, plan B. I went back and grabbed those coasters that I got off of Amazon, and they actually fit right perfectly down into this. And remember, I'm going to stamp the blank back of this, so I don't care if this star gets hidden. And these fit down here snugly. They don't do anything, you know, they're not moving. So I'm going to glue these pieces to here, let them sit for a little bit, and then we're going to resin. We're going to try. Gorilla Glue. More than anything, I just want to tack it down. That's why I'm not being perfect with all of this, but I also don't want bumps. So I want to get some tackiness in here without touching the edges at all, because I don't want these on my molds. This is really just to get rid of the bumps where it's thicker. Now I could do this outside of the tray, but I'm kind of using the tray to keep it all exactly equal, so. Am I the only one that loves the smell of Gorilla Glue? Yeah. So we've got a decent stick on there, but again, it's gonna, you know, Yupo's slightly thick. It reminds me of photo paper. So it will try to pull up off of that. So I'm going to put a few things on here to weight these. Where's my other ones? Just grab some more of these since I got a bunch of them. Then we're going to find some heavier stuff. Just because I was close to it, I've got some different spray paints. So I'm just, and they're both all full, so there's just enough weight to sit on these. Now we're just going to give them a little time to adhere, and then we'll be back. Okay, we're back. It's been about a little over an hour, I think, and when I came back, I did want to I pulled the tops out that I had put in to sandwich everything together, and they're all pretty much, they're stuck, and they're sitting the way I want them to, but everything got a little bit messy with the cork dust on here, and I don't want any cork dust in my resin, so I took them out, cleaned the molds one more time, and these are silicone. Things stick to them so easily, well, except resin. So it's easy to get dust bunnies and things grabbing this silicone, so you really have to clean it well. I clean it with soap and water, and then I go over it with alcohol. And I kind of did my best out here to get that done. But when I took these back out to clean them, one thing I noticed was some of them, you can see, don't totally cover the cork. And that bugs me. That may not bug some people, but it bugs me. So, I mean, granted, when I first got these molds, all I had was these pretty thick, heavy coasters that I got their cork from Walmart, and they didn't fit. I checked. They don't fit. So when I got these ones from Amazon, and they're thinner, it never dawned on me that these would fit. And now that I know they do, of course, I would have used this as my template, and we would have had much better circles. But what are we going to do about this problem now? I have a little solution, so we're going to put these in here. Get them in there really good. Stretch them in. Okay. And I did notice when I put the first one in, I kind of pushed it and it does move, but then I checked it out. It's not this piece, it's actually the mold itself. So this is in there really good. It's fine. They're all in good. So we're ready for the resining point. So what I've decided to do to help some of these edges, because two of them are like that. So I'm going to make them uniform, and to kind of cover that little mistake, I'm going to try. Let me grab this. I'm going to try and add some black silicone, or resin, black resin to this, and just go around the edges with it, and then pour in the clear and let it spread so that there's a little bit of an outline in black. I'm even thinking about adding, I've got this new, where's it at? This new really cool mica. It's black, but it's got colors in it, so I might add some of that to it as well. We'll see what happens, but that's how we're going to take care of that, or else we wouldn't need this step. Now that I'm about to start mixing my resin, I'm going to hit my little timer that reminds me where I'm at time-wise, because you've got 45 minutes generally to work with art resin, but sometimes I get busy off doing little things and I look over and realize a lot of time's passed, so I like to have that little timer. Mixing my resin. Art resin needs to be mixed for about 3.5 minutes. You can see how it's kind of not clear, it's kind of wispy. It's because it needs to mix completely, and it'll start to get clear as it gets ready. Whoa! Not what I wanted. Alright. Obviously you have to do this part fast, because it likes to move. Alright. This is fine. Once I put the resin on, it's not going to be bad. It'll have a cloudy kind of a border nature to it, but I don't want the stuff that's in the middle. I don't care about this other stuff that's kind of sticking out from the sides, because it'll look kind of cool. I'm really digging that metal though that I put in there. Metallic flake. If I don't have that on my Amazon page, I will make sure and get it there, because this is some glistening cool stuff. Now I'm not just using paper towels here, I'm using paper towels with a little bit of alcohol. Most of these aren't looking too bad. They kind of look messy and crappy for right now, but I'm telling you, once you put the clear on top of this, get most of these little stick outs cleared back away, it'll look fine. Thank God I've worked with resin before. This could be a mess. Alright, now for the clear. And I'm going to change my gloves because I'm not even going to chance that. Just want to make sure it's completely spreading out. I don't want to put too much in. I'll get the camera down close so you can see this too, but the black on the outsides is already starting to look pretty cool. And it's covering my mistake. Unfortunately, I'm going to end up sanding these damn things because resin went up on the edges, but I'll show you what that's all about when we're done here. Just getting the bubbles out. Using my little torch today. I think my big one would be a little much for this. Okay, we're going to set those aside for a minute. I'm going to keep torching them from time to time just to make sure there's no more new bubbles in them. But I've got that other set that I need to do real quick too. Okay, now these are going to be a little trickier because they're just on that cardboard. So I don't really want to get any on the back because I want to be able to stick something to this later, which you could even if the resin was on it, but I don't want the resin to get stuck to the cup and it's just a big mess. So I'm just going to try and get the resin on the front. You could use a brush. I'm going to use my hands. Okay, so we're going to take a quick look at the first ones. You can see a little bit of that glittery area, at least I hope that the light catches it enough for you to see it, because it's pretty. I'm glad I did that. I mean, it hit a mistake, but it also, I think, is going to be a pretty cool addition. So just kind of smokies in the edges there. Some are a little bit more than others. I think it'll be good. In 24 hours, we're going to take a good look at these, as well as these. These were the paper coasters that I covered with clear resin, just on top. I used a metallic-y couple of different sprays that I got from Lindy's Stamp Gang. I'll put the link to that below on the description, below the video here. Oh, and while you're there, I've realized lately that while I've been spending all my time the past year getting stuff ready for YouTube, I've really been neglecting my Facebook page. So I'm going to put my Facebook page address down there too. So if you want to go over there and like that page, that's kind of the best way to communicate, because I'm there just about every day. If you have questions or you want to show me stuff that you're doing, I would love that. So I'll put that link down below as well. And to celebrate that, I might even come up with some kind of a giveaway for likes. Who knows? I'll figure it out. Maybe some coasters. So that's where we're at with that. So all the things that you saw here today, again, I'm going to put the link down below to my Amazon page, because just about everything here that you saw today, I got there, including these silicone trays here, which I did look back up, and they were $12.99 for two of, well, for one? No, for two. Came with it was a set of two, so I got both of those. So that's where we're at today, back in 24 hours. Next day and results. For the most part, I'm actually pretty thrilled. I'm going to start off with the bad news though. The little paper ones, the little paper coasters that I resined, they basically soaked in the resin like I knew they would, but because they were slightly bowed and they weren't completely flat, that's what happened. I'm not going to discount these though. I'm not going to throw them away. These are not trash. I have a way of pressing things in the studio, and I'm going to put these in one of my press plates and let it sit for a while and do another coat over them, and I won't lose them, and I'll have a nice little set of coasters. But that's your downfall on trying to pour straight on cardboard, because it will do that, because it likes to soak up whatever you're putting on it. Because it's 24 hours later, we're still in the soft cure stage. I mean, it's set, but it's still a little bendy. Here, let's see, look at this. You can still see how bendy that is. Now, when this totally cures hard, you won't be able to do that. That's my favorite one right there. Turned out really cool. Even on the ones where the black shifted, I don't even have a problem with that. I think they're kind of cool, and you can really see some of that sparkle in those. I hope you can see this, because the monitor I have is so small I can't tell if it sparkles or not. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with these. And because I didn't want to deny you of the pleasure of seeing how these come out of here. Now watch, this will be a bad one. Just pops right out. Boop. Now this is going to need to be cleaned, because it's still got gummy pieces and stuff on it, so it really needs to be cleaned off really good. I would put it in a bath of not really hot, but warm soapy water, and then wipe it off with alcohol. Now, the one drawback to pouring in a mold that I have found, and it just is what it is that whenever you pour into a mold, you're going to get a lip. I think you can kind of see this, but see that lip there? Well, the fact that we're still 24 hours out and this is still somewhat slightly pliable, a lot of people will use that. That's too small for me. I mean, it's too hard to handle, but I have done it this way. Let me find a lip here where I can grab it. And just, you know, run along the edge and take that lip off. Now, what it's going to do is, see how it made it kind of opaque there where you can't see through it? The third way of taking care of these edges is sanding, and that's actually what I like to do normally. I let them sit and totally to a hard cure, then I sand the edges, and then but if you do it that way, there's one more step. You have to put one more thin layer of resin over the top of this to get it to come back to that glossy look. I don't mind that last layer because I know that it's worth it, so I'm just going to hang on until these are completely cured and then sand the edges. I was actually pretty amazed too that these all came out, it didn't go to the bottom, it just did the sides. I did not expect that. I really expected it to seep into all this like it did here, but all the way in, and be really ugly, I can kind of live with this. So I can either leave it that way, or I can grab one of my original bottoms to put on this and adhere that and have an extra thick coaster. That's pretty thick though. Or I could just do it like that. Because remember, I didn't plan on putting these in. We kind of had to because the Yupo paper here was curling and we needed something to adhere it to. So it was kind of a last ditch effort to keep the project from falling apart. So, oh, a couple other things I resined from the video previous. Messing with metallics. Now this is just a little, I've got a lot of these little pieces of wood around here because I do pyrography, wood burning. So if people who follow my channel know that I'm always stealing from the wood side to pour on stuff, but that's really what this is. And it's pretty big. This is, I think, probably almost 5 inches. Or actually, I believe this is one of those. It's 5 inch by 5 inch, which is a little large for a coaster. But if you know somebody that likes to have big coffee mugs, I could turn this into a coaster in a heartbeat. Or the top to a cigar box. There's a lot of things I could do with this one. This is also from the previous week, and then we put a coat of resin on that too. Look at that purple really comes out. That purple, believe it or not, was not purple. It was the blue flash in the color shift paints from Folk Art. And it was next to the black, so it kind of, the pearlescence and the purple came out, and it made it look like I have a lot of purple paint in here, and I don't. How neat is that? Love that stuff. So short but sweet, but that's where we're at today. It was fun. I plan on, I think I will do more coasters. They're a little costy when you turn around and think, you know, because I am a selling artist, to turn around and sell these for what I put into them. I don't know if that would work, but they might make some great gifts. So, as a matter of fact, I think I know where these are going to go. But yeah, digging it. It was fun. And I've got a lot more of the supplies, so I might have to do a couple more videos just so that we can try some new things maybe. Alright, so again, thank you for your support. We hit 3,000 subscribers here recently, and I am blown away for that. I really honestly didn't expect it, so thank you if you have subscribed to my channel. If you've liked this video or other videos, thank you. If you've shared a video, double thank you. Because of all the attention I've been paying to YouTube this past year, I've kind of let my Facebook page go, as I was talking about earlier. So what I'm trying to do is maybe bolster that a little bit. So I'll put the link to my Facebook page, my Facebook art page below, if you want to go over there and subscribe to that or like that page. It's really kind of, other than YouTube Direct, it's the best way to keep track of what's going on, because I do more than just videos on YouTube. So that's kind of my central hub area where I list blogs or different pieces of art that I don't video. So it's kind of centrally, you know, what's going on in the Kim McDonald Studios world. So if you're interested in that, you can go there and do that. And like I said, I'll put the link below. I want to send out a big thank you again to Mary Murphy for your recent donation to my channel in support. So thank you so much for that. Every little dollar counts. And so, also, I also want to reiterate this, and I always forget, just about everything I use here, I have on my Amazon page, and I'll put that link below too. I'm pretty frugal, so I look for the best deals as far as best bang for your buck, and it is through Amazon, so if you do buy through that page, I get a little tiny amount of that, or a little tiny piece of that, and it is also very helpful. I don't make a ton off of this. As a matter of fact, I don't make enough to make a living off of it, but it does help with supplies for the studio and a way to keep Kim McDonald Studios going on YouTube. So thank you for any kind of support. We'll do it again next week.